What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video topic is going to be a comparison video on these newfangled security token offerings that we keep hearing about. I didn't know much about the topic myself, and for that reason I decided to cover it. If you guys haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button and that subscribe button. I really do love the community support. I also wanted to share a little update for those of you who haven't checked it out already. Go to the link down below, and you can check out the blockchain brief. It's a crypto-based newsletter that I write for, and so do a bunch of other YouTubers. Our goal is basically just to bring the community news, research, technical analysis breakdowns, and exclusive interviews on a monthly basis. You can also preview the first issue as well. That's on the website. More links. Check it down below. My normal friendly disclaimer is I am not a financial advisor. All investments have inherent risk, and please always do your own research. Let's get into it. I want to briefly touch on what ICOs are so that we can sort of start to understand what STOs are. An initial coin offering, or ICO, is essentially a crowdsourced fundraising tool in which a new startup or team will use to create a cryptocurrency, either a token or a coin, on various platforms. The most popular ICO platform historically has been Ethereum, which allows these teams to build on top of it. The company will then do a public or private offering of this token, allowing retail investors to buy their digital project. The ICO format is different from the way people traditionally invest in a company because it promises that the coin or the token will be an integral part of the functioning project that is to be created. The overall mindset is the token will over time appreciate in value, leaving the investor with a profit. It's no secret that ICOs were the name of the game in the crypto space in 2017. The sentiment was picking winners was as simple as throwing a dart at a board, the expectation being a guaranteed 10x on your initial investment. Based on reports from CoinDesk in 2017, there were 343 ICOs, which raised a total of approximately $6 billion, that's billion with a B, and those numbers were dwarfed by 2018, which is currently 650 ICOs, which raised approximately $16 billion. 2017's numbers are nothing to scoff at, but the exponential growth over a year's time is pretty evident. Unfortunately, there were also a lot of bad actors in the space who recognized that there was money to be made and took advantage of this new marketplace. A study was conducted by the status group Crypto Research that revealed a total number of ICOs that took place in 2017. 78% of them were identified as a scam. Approximately 4% of them failed. 3% have gone dead, and 15% ended up on an exchange. As of recording this video, the website DeadCoins reports 934 coins that are considered abandoned projects. There are a few individual criteria that projects must meet in order to be considered dead. The price must have fallen below 1 cent. The project must have had never or no longer offers utility or usable features. It was created with nefarious intent or created as a novelty coin. This is a striking amount of statistics related to how dishonest the ICO market was behind the scenes in 2017 and 2018. Fast forward a bit, and the SEC has joined the party. The Securities and Exchange Commission of the United States is also known as the SEC, and you've probably heard of them by now. The agency was created by the American government in 1934 and is now the main organization that controls and regulates all operations on the security markets. I want to quickly define what a security is before moving on. A security is a fungible financial instrument that holds a monetary value of some nature. It represents ownership in a publicly traded corporation, usually by way of stocks, to rights and ownership as represented by an option. The SEC's main goal is to keep the financial markets honest. They require public and other regulated companies to provide quarterly and annual reports that reveal the company's financial history in that period of time. These reports are all available to the general public. It doesn't come as much of a surprise to me that the SEC finally stepped in, after reviewing the 2017 statistics in reference to how many ICO frauds there were. A main priority for them is to protect the investors in the USA. And the crypto market was an unregulated offender putting investments in jeopardy. On July 25, 2017, the SEC released a report into which they defined if the DAO token sale was in fact considered a securities offering. As most of you probably know, this decision was anxiously anticipated by the community as it was assumed it would set a precedent for the space. Ultimately, the SEC determined that the DAO tokens are securities under the Securities Act of 1933 and the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. However, the important point to mention here is the SEC did not specifically categorize all tokens as securities, and therefore left the community with a pretty large undeniable uncertainty that continues to loom overhead. They stated that the determination depends on the particular facts, circumstances, and economic realities of the transactions and the projects itself. This has caused a lot of unease in the space, leading to projects refunding money or ceasing development because they are concerned that they're not going to meet the requirements put forth by the SEC to be considered regulated. Apparently those options seem to be easier than finding the route that will legitimize them and be seen as acceptable by the SEC. What are security token offerings then? This has led the space down a route to these newfangled STOs, or security token offerings. STOs, or equity tokens, are a new and regulated path of creating a token and building on it like an ICO. However, unlike the original ICOs, security tokens don't need to have a utility. This classification of token is the equivalent of issuing company stock, but it's on the blockchain. Their use case is that they represent a real share of the company. This is something that I mentioned earlier that ICOs can't give you. There's also been a major change in how the STOs are marketed. Gone are the days of a white paper and a promise. This time around, the team of the tokens will be regulated by the government from its inception. This should, in theory, reduce the risk of fraud, or at least decrease it enough to be seen as acceptable by the United States government. So the next logical question is, what makes STOs so important? The overreaching theme of the transition to STOs is to remove the middleman in the transaction and ultimately better protect the investor. The SEC sees the middleman as the main offender and the leading cause to the high-risk nature of ICOs. Due to the innate characteristics of blockchain tech, security tokens are going to have built-in features that are going to benefit regulators. For example, startups can code lockup periods into the projects via smart contracts. This would make violations of those periods virtually impossible, and this would definitely be a surefire way to decrease fraud and increase protection. The transition to security token offerings may very well dominate the market in 2019 and beyond. Since the process is now safer and more regulated by the SEC, there will be more concrete assurances to newcomers that the space has increased in reliability. The average person who used to view crypto as the unregulated wild, wild west may be less intimidated leading in new money into the market. There's also a pretty good chance that the generation of STOs are going to breed a smaller quantity of projects if we're using traditional ICO startups as the base measurement. Considering that the process of creating one and meeting regulations is going to be more difficult and likely more costly. That being said, we've already seen an influx in interest in STOs and projects like Dusk, which plan to be the incubator and jumping off point for the new wave of crypto projects. The topic of regulation in this space is hotly debated and extremely divisive. I'm sure all of you are very aware of that. On one side, we have people that argue that Bitcoin was created with the sole purpose of being a level playing field for the world, free of government regulation and limitations. And the latter, the argument that in order for widespread adoption to actually take place, some regulation may be necessary. My opinion is that both of these can be true. They're not mutually exclusive. Bitcoin is free from the SEC's concerns of being a security and continues to serve the purpose for which it was created. The regulation and ultimately the success of STOs should not decrease the need or the importance of Bitcoin, but instead encourage new people to enter the space in a less daunting manner. The addition of new people, new funds, and possibly increased adoption to me feels like a success no matter how you slice it. All right, everyone, that wraps it up for me today. Let me know what you guys think about the topic, what your view on STOs is, where you think the space is headed in the comments down below, and I'll go check them out. As usual, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Did you like my comparison video? If so, I got great news for you. I got a ton of comparison videos in my playlist over there. Go check them out, leave me some comments, let me know what you think. As usual, thanks for watching my channel.